Good evening, everyone. How are you? Well, as you can see, we still have a lot of room for friends. So if you guys willing to help, just tell the others that we do have this meeting in English, and here in Orlando is the only one. There's another Spirit Center closer to us, but they only do in Portuguese and Spanish. And there's another one that do readings, but it's through Zoom. So the only in-person meetings here. So if you willing to help, that'll be very appreciated from our side. So today we're going to talk about what lies inside of us, which is the eternity, and also what inspired me to do this lecture was a book that I'm going to show in a minute from Joseph Murphy. And it's interesting because he just correlates what is written here. Spirituality, logic, and science, but perfectly in Spiritism. His book is called The Power of Subconscious. And to summarize the book, he just say that if you feed your subconscious with good information, with positive information, there is nothing that you cannot do. And he filled up the pages with a lot of test cases, a lot of people that did change just because they understood the power of the subconscious. Guess what? The subconscious level works almost the way we understand the spiritual world. We don't understand it. So the subconscious level works in ways that we don't understand, as sometimes our spirit works in ways that we don't understand. The mainframe for Spiritism is to tell a little bit about how can you understand and how can you adjust yourself to this kind of reality better. So let's start.
The scripture says in Proverbs 23.
Can you put it a little louder, my friend? Tell me if it's okay. Okay?
The scripture says in Proverbs 23:7, as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your life is going to go the way of your dominant thought. And if you don't renew your thoughts, and if you don't get your thoughts lined up with the Word of God, and if you're thinking wrong about things, then you will eventually experience the results of that wrong thinking. Let me say it this way, that God is who He is, regardless of what you think. But as far as your experience goes, you will never experience God beyond what you think. If your doctrine is wrong, your experience is going to be wrong.
And this could summarize the whole talk, but I'm going to expand it a little bit. And again, this is not a Spiritist affiliate. It's not this gentleman. He's from another church, which doesn't have any problems with that. It's just a matter of being every single religion nowadays is recognizing the power of something that we took it for granted for a long time. Think about your brain that has a lot of capability, but as the captain of the ship. And your body is everything else. The crew, machinery, food, everything that you need to keep the boat running. But without the captain, the boat's going to collide or it's not going to reach the place that you want to go. So if you don't understand that the mainframe or the main orders that come to the captain come from your thoughts, you're not going to understand, or you're not going to be able to correct the route. So understanding what's happening, it's the easiest way. And to the point of this speech right here, this 3-minute short video, that is a chapter on a book called Minutes of Wisdom. It's probably not in English yet. It's from Carlos Pastorino. And he says this just like that. God believes in you. If you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in God. As simple as that. It was a slap in my face. Of, what? Really? Yeah. If he believes in you, how dare you not believe in yourself? He creates you. He thinks of you as a perfect being, although we are so far from being perfect. He wants us to be perfect. He gave a lot of guidance, a lot of guidelines through Jesus. And we still doubt about our talents. It's really hard. So the lecture is based on 2 books. The Spiritist book, and of course, The Power of Your Subconscious. And this is a half a century book that sold more than 1 million copies. And this guy just talked about religion in a scientific way. And that's why I love it so much, because that's what I do outside here. I use neuroscience applied to business. So neuroscience is applied to everything. Science is applied to everything, including religion. So in the Spirit's book, the question 155 is written there. It is logical to believe that the more the Spirit has identified with the matter, the more it will suffer upon separating from it. Because the Spirit's not made of matter. We are just incarnated to experience something, to better up ourselves, not in a material way. So if you attach yourself to matter, of course, guys, no, there's nothing on Spiritism that doesn't tell us that we don't need to accrue money to live. And live the best that we can, but not attached to material things. On the other hand, intellectual and moral activity and elevate thoughts initiate the separation even during the corporeal life. And when that finally occurs, the separation is almost instantaneous. How many of us can say that thing? My mom just discarnated 2 months ago. She suffered for at least 3 months. And she was one of the coordinators of a big Spiritist center down in São Paulo. It doesn't matter what denomination you call yourself. It matters what you have inside of you. And it matters what is your plan of life, per se, that you don't know when you incarnate, because you're not supposed to. Otherwise, if you do know, it's a spoiler, right? Then nothing's going to be valid. You need to forget who you were in order to perfect yourself, with nothing, coming from 0 up. It's almost the feeling that we have when we come to America from other countries. Most of us did have different jobs, different titles, and all of a sudden you see yourself starting from scratch. That can be thought as a reincarnation or a reinvention of ourselves. So it's something that if you attach too much to some kind of material side, you're not going to be as happy, because you're always going to miss something from, if you compare apples to apples, that's always missing. Something is always missing. So don't try to do that. Understand what you can better, what you got as, a better version, a better version, per se, of yourself, and try to work miracles with that. So, what are the power of the thoughts? Imagine that your subconscious is a rich field, and your thoughts are the seeds. Every thought is a cause, every condition is an effect. Whoa, cause and effect? Does it ring a bell? We are talking the same, even the same jargon, only in a different way. But we are talking the same thing, science and Spiritism. Your subconscious mind can be linked to the soil in which all kinds of seeds, good or bad, will germinate. Start sowing thoughts of peace, happiness, good deeds, goodwill, and prosperity right now. Wow, Peter, but I do that. How often? Do you have the flag to tell you, ooh, ooh, there, here I go, start talking about bad things. We don't. So we make this a habit, which is the exception, is what is showing the second paragraph right there, thinking about good things. You know what's the best time to program your subconscious? Right before you go to bed. When you are in between here and almost in the what we call sleeping mode. And we know that when you sleep, you just emancipate from your body and go do whatever you do in your sleep on the spiritual realm. Think calmly and interestedly about these qualities and accept them fully into your rational, conscious mind. Make it a habit of thinking good things. If you can, another thing that is great, once you wake up, I said that many times, I'm going to keep saying because I think that repetition is the mother of the skills. So once you wake up, first thing, start thinking or thanking God and thanking your life for everything that you have, starting with your pillow, your blanket. Have hot water in the shower. Long time ago, I brought a video that the guy was saying, if you do have money in your pocket, you are among the 10% richer people in the world. But we don't see that. We just look at the ones that have more than us. So we're not rich compared to them. But you're not using the right level to compare. Question 459. Do spirits have any influence on our thoughts and actions? Yeah. The influence you on this regard is greater than you suppose. For every frequently it is they who guide you. Most of the time, they are suggesting actions and thoughts to us. And remember, I start telling that the brain is the captain, but the orders come from the thoughts. So far, science could not point out in our brain where the thoughts come from. That's kind of there's a lot of, if you go Google, there's a lot of guessing game on it. There's nobody that prove it in a white paper and, being passed through a lot of scientific process to understand where thought comes from. If they don't know where they come from, it's because they don't accept that is something different than what the eye can see or the microscope. And we know that there's so much more. So, how does the spirits communicate with us? Through what? Are they going to show up in front of you and do boo? I don't think so. If they want to scare you to death, probably. But normally they're more subtle than that. So they're going to influence you through your thoughts. How can they reach your thoughts? By frequency. You have a good thought, high spirits, high energy level spirits will align with you and inspire you. Put that frequency down and see what kind of thoughts you have. Tell me that you never said, I don't have a way to do that. I don't deserve it. I'm no good. Did you ever wanted to say that about yourself? Probably not. But you did. I did. We all did. Why? What kind of frequency were you by that time? So they just give more fuel to the fire pit. And you keep getting it until you get a big fire that sometimes is hard to control. Can people avoid the influence of spirits who incite them to evil? Yes. So that's the good news. The first one's not that good. The second one, yes, you can avoid it. Because they only attach themselves to those who solicit them with their desires or attract them with their thoughts. Whoa. We're talking the same thing in a different way. They just adding, Spiritism just add more information to science. Science said that thoughts can modify your life. But they are talking about the life that they can see through microscope or maybe telescope. Spiritism says, yes, it can. And guess what? There's a lot of people on the other side crazy to give you some incentive to go up or to go down. It depends on you. It depends on what you think. It depends on how you control the quality of your thoughts. Most men try to change conditioning and circumstances by just touching conditioning and circumstances. They refer this sentence or this quote to Albert Einstein, but nobody could prove it so far. But they say that insanity is trying to do the same thing over and over and get a different result. Don't try to touch conditioning and circumstances when you want to change them. To remove disharmony, confusion, deficiencies, and limitations, you must remove the cause of it all. And the cause is the way in which you are thinking and imagining in your mind. I'm no good. Yesterday, we have a lady that came here and say, I'm obsessed. She said that 3 times, and I don't know how many times she said that at home until she got here. So she's reinforcing to her brain that there is a spirit, and she's under obsession. How can somebody tell her differently if she's conditioning her brain to accept that reality? Oh, that is the spiritual aspect too, that's for sure. But if you don't agree, if you don't deliver yourself to that kind of spirit, if you cut the line, it's going to be harder for him to influence you. So, your thinking and imagine and how you think and how you imagine things in your mind will create a better or a worse life. We used to say that when you have too much time and you do absolutely nothing, you start imagining a lot of things. And that is so true, because I remember when I got here in Brazil, I give classes in the morning and the night in a university. I work in 2 jobs on TV. I was the HOA master in my building, and also I play in 2 bands. So I used to make a joke: if you owe me money, go to my home at around 7 a.m. and just get out of there around midnight 30, 1 a.m. I'm never going to see you. So I'm never going to ask you to pay me back. Then I got here. It was 5 months to get my permission to start working. I was counting the dots on the ceiling. And when you do that, isn't it easier to create stories in your mind that are not true? Oh, she's taking too long to get back home. Why? What is the need for that? No need, but we do that. We have this kind of wandering mind that we don't control it. Because we don't control, we pay the price. Your thoughts form the mode of matrix through which the infinite intelligence, wisdom, life, forces, and energies of your subconscious flow. Matrix through which the infinite intelligence, wisdom, life, forces, and energies. What is he talking about? What is the infinite intelligence? God? Right? God. There's no other. But they're talking about science. So they use a different terminology to talk about something that we know that is right there, reading between the lines. Are humans responsible for their thoughts? They are responsible before God. God alone can know their thoughts and condemn or absolve them according to the divine justice. So whatever you think, again, cause and effect. The parable of the talents It's a great parable because it tells you that God gave you a talent, or maybe 3, or maybe 5. But if you go out and don't multiply your only talent, and you just hide to give back to God when you are back to the spiritual world, you did nothing. You did absolutely nothing. If you don't believe that you do have a talent, how can you do something with the talent that you don't believe you have? So your thoughts come down. It's like, okay, what did you do with this that I gave it to you? Nothing. So what do you want now? Yes, sir.
Besides all of that, we have the external environment that we are immersed in, which is so negative.
Exactly.
And we're
We're gonna get there, but yes, you're totally right. And also, we're social creatures, and since we left the cave, if we don't belong to a society, we're gonna be left out in the cold, and maybe some dinosaur or tiger will eat me. So I will do sometimes anything that I can to stay in that kind of society. And that's why we see, especially for when we are young, that we do a lot of stupid things to belong to a fraternity. Smoke or something like that. So I don't like it, but yes, everybody does. And if I do this, I'm going to get to the fraternity, which the biggest guy is the no-brainer and a lot of muscles. Why do I want to follow a guy like this? Oh, because everybody does. That's what Valdo just said. We follow the pressure of the society that is around us, and we deliver ourselves to that. Today I was talking to my niece. I've been doing gospel at home with her for 5 years right now. And today she was telling me that she went to school and it was boring. Like the party was boring. Nothing happens. There was no activities. That's just silly activities to do. So I asked her, did you suggest any activity? Oh, no. I say, why? Well, because last time I did that, everybody complained, said that it was silly, nobody was going to do that. I say, well, did you reply? So what is your opinion about this? What is your suggestion? What can we do? If somebody suggests something better to do, at least you're doing something. You're not sitting in a boring party. And if you do that, you are telling that you have a voice. You are going against the flow, because every time somebody tells you no, what happens? You don't say anything else anymore. You just retract and wait. Wait for what? For somebody to, oh, poor you. It's not going to work. So yes, it's really hard to go against the pressure of society around us. But again, if you know, and what I work with her is to tell her that she has a talent that pretty much most of the kids of her age doesn't. Like Angelica's daughter, she has a talent that pretty much not too much how many girls of her age does have, but she knows that. She's quiet, but she knows that, and our job is to reinforce that all the time, because then they're gonna grow with that kind of support system that will make them differentiate themselves from the crowd and believe in themselves. Again, the thing is, believe in yourself. Yeah, you can be wrong. Remember, we are the second to the last planet in the third world, right? In the third classification, right? So, sorry, but we're no good. Don't try to be the best of the best of the best of the best, because you're going to mess up sometimes. Take that inside. Say, yeah, that's good. Okay, I mess up. That happens. Life goes on. That doesn't mean that I'm bad. Just tell that I messed up. Keep moving, keep going, keep doing, keep believing in yourself. It's freedom a consequence of freedom. It's freedom a consequence. Oh, I keep something here. It's freedom of conscience, a consequence of freedom of thought. Conscience is an inner thought that belongs to a person, as do all their other thoughts. So they didn't respond yes or no. But what do you think they're saying here? Yes or no? Freedom of conscience is a consequence of freedom of thought? Yes or no? Yes. I take that as yes. What do you think, Al? Valdo?
It's
By the way that they respond, Tim, do you have the...
conscience a consequence of freedom of thought. Yeah, it's yes.
Yeah. They didn't say yes, but they want you to think about the answer because it's inside of you. It's not for them to say,
It's
wait,
inner thought.
exactly.
It's in an individual basis, which means that you have freedom as an individual.
When you talk about intuition and you divide the word intuition, then you understand what it is, right? It's a tuition from the inside. And it's your body telling you things that you don't realize consciously in your brain. So thoughts, inner thoughts, are just kind of intuition that you have. Anything that impresses itself on the subconscious will express itself in time and space as conditioning, experience, and event. Anything that goes inside will manifest outside as conditioning, repetition, habit, experience, and event. So anything that you repeat for a long time will be taken as true. Start repeating good things about yourself. Start repeating good things about what you can do. Instead of saying, oh, I cannot do this. Oh, I cannot do this. Yes, your brain's going to just got this information. The captain's going to say, you cannot do this. So your body's going to find a way to sabotage you. How many times you sabotage yourself? Relationship. Well, I saw this movie before and didn't go too good. So I'm not going to believe in that. That can be the one. That could be your relationship, but it didn't trust because you are just based on previous experiences and what you got from the experience was a bad taste. So you didn't focus on the right thing, which is, yeah, I learned something from this. Let's move on. If you stay looking for the pain, you're going to find a lot. Because the way that the brain works is it deletes everything that you don't pay attention to. So if you pay attention to pain, you will find a lot of pain. Try to pay attention to the other side. You will find a lot of ways to tell you that, yeah, the good side exists. I have a friend that my loan was for a long time really good. Nowadays, because of the weather and stuff, it's not that good. But for him, his loan's perfect. But for him, if he find one weed, it ruined his day. He's going to look at any other flowers, any other greenery, anything. He was just paying attention to the weed. Can he get a happy life? It's kind of hard. The miracle working powers of your subconscious exist before you and I were born, before any church of our world existed. This is science, okay? This is not spiritism, please. I'm bringing this for us to understand where we met and where something is kind of off. The law of life is the law of faith, and faith can be understood as the thought in the mind. Okay? That's where science got to so far. That is great. Because in medieval times, science and religion just go separated. Because if you say something that the church didn't like, you're going to be burned as a warlock, as a witch. So right now, we're getting together and also talking the same kind of language with different terminology. That is great. That is awesome. But again, think about this as just processing the material side of our body. Okay, so for him, yes, the subconscious existed for a long time before we exist, because it's coming from the whatever when the humans appear in the world. So it's a long time ago. Although I have white beard, I was not there. Maybe. I probably was.
So this is doing like a parallel to previous lives?
Pretty much. Pretty much. And faith, which is, we know what Kardec said about faith, is probably really close to that as well. The great eternal truths and principles of life are prior to all religions. No brainer. And that's what Spiritism brings too. The spirits were here before anybody invented cults and procedures and getting together. We exist way before that. So yes, if you think about this, the truths and principles of life were there for us to understand. And then somebody just came and said, well, I'm going to put in a book. I'm going to summarize it for you. And now I'm going to create a doctrine or a code or a religion, and you just follow. And unfortunately, even if they started with great intentions, they succumb to planet Earth and everything that we need to live here. So even the best intentions sometimes just get a little bit detour, to say the least. So the conclusion on page 563 to 568 says that by demonstrating the existence of immortality and the soul, Spiritism revives faith in the future, uplifts discouraged hearts, and enables us to bear the tribulations of life with resignation. Again, remember, every single text or every single saying, you're going to understand through your process, through your brain. So most of the time, what is hard for us is to get Spiritism revives faith in the future. Yeah, right. My future doesn't look like good. They're not talking about your immediate future. They're talking about something else. But it depends, how are you prepared to understand what is written there? And that's why Jesus only speaks in parables, because they change every time you revisit those, because you are a different person. You have different experiences. When we say that Jesus was the perfect one, when the Spiritism tells follow Jesus as a guideline, it's as a guideline. And most of us understand that we need to be as perfect as Jesus. Newsflash, it's not going to happen. Not even try. Because you're going to get discouraged, going to get frustrated, and there's something on our brain. If you try to embrace a bigger task, a bigger than you think that you can do, you're going to give up. And that's why most of us give up religion, give up tasks that are too immense for us to understand. Go baby steps. What can you do today that Jesus said to do it? Maybe not that perfectly, but better than you did yesterday. I used to wake up thinking about everything that I have. Now I wake up asking myself, what can I do better than yesterday? So I'm giving a command, a thought to the captain. And the captain is giving this command to the rest of the ship. So for the time that I'm still remembering that question, my brain will work through this process to show me things that I can do better. Will that last for the whole day? No way, Jose. It's not. But it's until it lasts and until you can remember again and do something better to your brain again, it's a battle. It's a give it or take. Life happens. And sometimes you just react. But if you think that you have time to proact, then think, what is the best thought that I can have right now? Because that's the reprogramming of your brain. Reprogramming of the energy that is surrounding you. It does not demand blind faith, but wants everyone to know why they believe. And since it's based on reason, it will always be more powerful than doctrines based on nothing less. Why? Nowadays, if you didn't hear the name Simon Sinek, he's the new Tony Robbins. As a matter of fact, he's making more appearance and money than Tony Robbins is making nowadays. Because Tony doesn't need, but that's okay. This is another thing. He starts with what they call the Golden Globe, and with the thinking, start with the why. Everything starts with the why. We had the IQ, we had the EQ, and now we are on the era of SQ, spiritual quality. That's Dr. Dana Zohar. And she talks about purpose. So now, it's what is your purpose and why? Why do you have this purpose? Why? What is the outcome? What can you do with this purpose? So, how many times we ask, why are we here? Why this happened? Why this happened to me? Nobody said that yet, right? In life. Think about this particular piece of command that you give to your brain. First of all, we are 7+ trillion billion people in this world. Do you really think that this just happened to you? For real? Just you? So instead of being a victim, you are a privileged one. Because, like Billy King said, pressure is a privilege. Only feel pressure the ones that are on the top and get pressure to keep the momentum going. So, again, don't give orders to your brain that will take you to anywhere. Because once you give something to your brain, he will run, spin like a spinning ball of death, and not giving you an answer. When it comes the answer, it doesn't work for nothing. But you spend a lot of energy. And energy in our body is known as glucose. So by the end of the day, if you're depleted of energy, it's because A, you work physically a lot, or B, you work mentally a lot. And normally it's A and B, but normally it's B most of all. I remember I worked for Disney as a photographer. I used to come back home and tell my wife, I'm dead. Because it's a D70 Nikon with a big flash in your neck the whole day. It feels like I had a nail attached to my back all the time. And she looked at me and said, yes, I'm exhausted too. And then my brain said, what the heck? How can she be exhausted? She was sitting in front of a computer under the AC the whole day. I'm out frying in the sun. And then I work with the computer and I felt depleted just as her. So watch what you think, because sometimes they will prove you wrong. Prayer and meditation are highly effective in lowering your reactivity to traumatic and negative events. Dr. David Spiegel, Stanford University School of Medicine. Prayer, it's another form of thought. It's another form of raising the energy level. If you don't know how to have a good thought, pray. It will come to you. For real. I'm not joking. If you don't know how to have a good thought by that time, just pray. Oh, Peter, I cannot pray. Okay? Read some good book. I cannot read. Okay? Listen to a great speech. I cannot listen. Okay? Put some music that reminds you a good time. Because now you are under influence. So you need to break the connection. Because you're putting your energy too low. Prayer is the easiest way. And we take prayer for granted most of the time. Essentially, an answer, prayer is the fulfillment of the heart's longing. Your prayer is answered because your subconscious mind is principled and works according to the law of faith. This is science, okay? This is not spiritism, but are they too far from what we think? Your subconscious mind is principled and works according to the law of faith. So, let's make it easier. Prayer is answered because of faith. Right? The other words, you just crunch it and throw it. Because that's a fancy way to put it for scientists. But they're saying the same as Spiritism say. If you have faith in yourself, it's hard to put you down. It will happen from time to time, but it's hard to put you down. You have faith in yourself. How many times you guys face... I'm not even talking to you, okay, Valdo? This guy just got a lightning over him. He's still here with us. So I'm not going to even talk to you about this. That's ridiculous.
He's a cat.
Dude, but if he's a cat, he just lost his night life.
He's got 7.
You got 7 more? Oh. Tell me what's the shop that you buy last, man, because I'm ready.
Okay.
Wonders occur when you really pray. What is the general character of prayer? Prayer is an act of worship. Praying to God is thinking of God, drawing nearer to God, putting oneself in communication with God. Through prayer, we may do 3 things: praise, ask, and thank. And here's my question. When was the last time that you prayed to thank God? Normally, we pray to ask. And when we pray for praise, it's sometimes deep inside of our subconscious thoughts. We want something out of that. Don't raise your hands? No. But it's kind of hard. But again, that's our nature. We are perfecting our nature. That's not... I didn't get to bed thin. It's been a long time. And I wake up fat with a belly. And I'm going to go to the bed with a belly and wake up thin. That's not going to happen. I need to exercise a lot. We need to talk about this. He's my pal in the gym. So, if you don't have a plan for yourself, things don't happen just because. But if you pray with the whole heart, normally that's the time when the prayer is answered. Does prayer make people better? I think, again, yes. Because those who pray fervently and confidently strengthen themselves against the temptations of evil. And God sends them good spirits to assist them.
Connecting to that question you read before.
Yeah.
Does the spirit influence our thoughts?
Exactly. And I remember Divaldo saying that at Mansão do Caminho. Divaldo is the greatest medium alive in Brazil. And he runs a big community called Casa do Caminho, the House of the Way. And he was saying that from time to time he receives some friends and some people that are from the Spiritist doctrine. And he asked, on lunch for this guy to start to make a prayer, and he started talking about the ancient times and stuff on the prayer instead of going straight to thanks for the meal and stuff. And the father saying, when he got to Jesus Christ era, everybody's gonna be starving. That's not the prayer that you're looking for. The prayer is straight to. It's what you need, but in the right way, in your way. Not trying to create a lot of fancy words. They don't impress whoever listened to your prayer. But if you're going to pray here, use your fancy words. Everybody's going to be impressed with you. Really? Not really. What is essential is not to pray a great deal, but to pray rightly. And what is to pray rightly? It's not the remedy per se that is ineffectual, but the manner in which it is applied. Prayer is effective, but if you apply it in the wrong way, you're not going to get anything out of that. Why don't I get $1 million? Why don't I win the lotto? First question, did you play? Because when I do lectures for business, I ask, who wants to win the lotto? I see a lot of hands up. So who plays? Not even half of them. So yeah, newsflash. First thing you need to play in order to win. Otherwise, it's just a crazy thought. Scientific prayer consists of the harmonious interaction of the conscious and subconscious levels of the mind, scientifically oriented towards a certain purpose. Again, fancy words to say the same that we just heard. It is not what is believed that brings an answer to man's prayer. The answer to prayer comes when the individual's subconscious mind responds to the mental picture or thought of his mind. Yes, that is great. They're getting there. Not that we have the Spiritism has the whole concept of everything, but they are getting there. They're getting too close, which is awesome. Yeah. So right now we're talking about subconscious. From subconscious to another level is just a step. Believe in subconscious because subconscious is something that they cannot deal with. As a matter of fact. And we cannot deal with the spiritual world. We can understand their laws. We can understand how it works. We can understand how we can better ourselves by working under these laws. But we don't understand fully. We don't even have... Do you believe in God? Angelica, do you believe in God? Do you believe in God, Dilma? Okay, so God ever got to your home and sit on the table to eat with you?
No, he does.
He does?
He does.
I never saw a picture. Why didn't you take a picture of him?
I don't need.
No?
No.
No?
Think of that.
Okay. So you are...
I'm blessed to have a food with you. So it's God's gift.
There you go. That's a great answer. But normally, because we don't see anybody, they don't exist. We don't need to see it to believe. You need to understand that if everything runs and there's an order and nobody around us create this order, somebody did, which is not a body per se. So our brain has to conceptualize God as a man, as an old man with a big beard. Sometimes he's nice, sometimes he's hard. Because if we don't use something that we understand, we're never going to understand God. But it's so naive on our side to try to put him as a mere reflection of ourselves. He's an energy. He doesn't need to have a form. But we need to understand him through a form because that's the way our brain works. So see how limited is our brain and the capabilities of the subconscious that has a lot of. And the brain doesn't even know. That's Spiritism. This is the law of faith operates in all religions of the world. This is being the reason they are psychologically true. Faith in yourself. Again, if you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in God. May one effectively ask God to forgive one's sins? You can. Will he? It depends. God knows how to discern between good and evil. Prayer does not hide sins. Those who ask God to forgive their sins do not receive forgiveness unless they change their conduct. Good deeds are the best prayers, for deeds are worth more than words. This is the same concept of the answer of prayer comes when the individual's subconscious mind responds to the mental picture of thoughts of his mind. Because you know when you do good and when you do wrong. If you did wrong, you're going to condemn yourself. It's the same thing, saying it a different way. So the purpose of this lecture is just to tell you, guys, we're not that different from science. We're not there, but they are realizing what is being written centuries ago. May one pray effectively for others. The spirit of one who prays acts out of a will to do good. Through prayer, it attracts good spirits who cooperate with the good in the good it desires to do. When you do something for anybody, and pray is something as well. Of course, action and reaction. That kind of energy will come back to you. But if you do that just to have the energy coming back to you, great, nothing will happen. Keep trying. Through our thought and will, we possess the inner power of action that extends far beyond the limits of corporeal sphere. A prayer for others is an act of that will. Pray for others because you want to pray for others. If you don't want to pray, don't do it. There is one question in the Spiritist books like, is there any time that we should not pray? What do you think that they answered?
Shouldn't pray until you've released the angst or the anger to others that have offended you.
You shouldn't pray if you don't believe in what you pray. You shouldn't pray if you don't feel like praying. Because there will be just words. It's not going to be anything but just words. And again, who's listening to those words? You probably are not. Your prayer is an answer according to the universal law of action and reaction. Let me put my glasses here. On Mark 11:23, say, truly I tell, if anyone say to this mountain, go, throw yourself into the sea, and does not doubt in their heart, but believes that what they say will happen, it will be done for them. He's talking about what here? Faith, power subconscious, prayer, everything. So, yeah, please don't try to move mountains. It's not healthy. But, yes, if you do believe that something's going to happen, something is going to happen. And if you pay attention to that, it happens mostly every week to us. We just don't realize because we're so busy trying to get to the next thing that we don't have time to understand that what we pray for just came. You're not looking for that anymore. You're looking for the next step. And that is hard because it's an expenditure of time for nothing. The law of your mind is the law of faith. So believing in the way your mind works is believing in faith itself. It's not the way you believe, but faith in your own mind that brings the results. Science saying, okay, great. Believe in what you want to believe. That's the great thing about Spiritism too. We don't say believe in Spiritism. Believe in what makes you better. Stop believing the false beliefs, opinions, superstitions, and terrors of mankind. That is a Japanese scientist. He put some music in front of cups of water. And then he just froze and see the crystals. The beautiful music, the classical music, the crystals are the prettiest ones. the hard rock, Hitler speeches was the most deformed crystals ever. How much of us are composed with the water?
70-something%.
And what kind of thoughts are you feeding this water with? I rest my case, Your Honor. Begin to believe in the eternal realities and truths of life, which never change. And to end, unshakable faith, it's only that which can face reason in all human epochs. Reason. Don't believe just because you believe. There must be something for you to believe, even if you don't see it. Like we play with God here. It's like, if you believe, you should have a reason for that. Otherwise, you're not going to put effort on that belief. It will fade out. Thank you.